Good morning. Welcome to another Gather at the River episode number 5. You believe that? We've yet to be pulled off the air, so
Yeah,
we're
but
still
I,
on.
but I think there's a petition started to
You
maybe
think so?
get that.
Kind of a recall, huh?
Well, the problem is we came back to church on
That's
Sunday.
right, yeah.
That gave people the opportunity to sign the petition
That's
to
true.
try to get rid of us on
Yeah.
Fridays.
I thought Cindy and Kathy would be doing our jobs by now, but
there is a groundswell of support for that.
we have still survived.
That we're
You know, a
in.
lot of people on Sunday, I was really amazed, were commenting on how much they've enjoyed the Friday episodes.
Yeah.
So that's good. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining with us. We're getting a lot of people watching, and they enjoy really the guest. So
Yes.
we
I
got-
think it's the guests more than us.
it has to be. We got two for you this morning. You're going to love this, and both both people you know their faces and have seen them around. We're going to give you some information about Stephen and Phyllis Start you probably did not know. So hang with us, and we'll get to them here after we get through this. But it's good to be with you again this morning. We're having a great week. We really are. And last Sunday was pretty amazing, wasn't it?
So much. First of all, it was just so much fun to have everybody back. And then I was amazed. I thought the crowd was probably 70% of what a normal crowd was for us for Sunday morning and Sunday evening.
Yep.
And it was so good to be back.
Yeah, no,
So
we
good
had a
to
lot
be
of people here, and it even looked larger because you were kind of spreading out on us.
Right.
So,
Right.
but no, it was really, really good to be back. Great spirit.
Oh,
People were just excited to be back in church. And as we got singing in the morning, and we can tell up here at the platform, a number of people were just crying. It was so good to be back in church. Good to see one another, and it just,
it was great.
get back with your family, your church family. That was just wonderful. What do you have? Any birthdays for us this month?
Well, I actually got 4 birthdays this week. On tomorrow, Saturday, Sam Duncan's
Oh, wow.
birthday.
Alabama.
He'll be wearing the houndstooth
Yeah,
all day,
yeah,
I
he will.
guess.
Yeah.
But then this is a special birthday that we've got on May the 11th. Sydney Harrison will be 16.
16.
Sweet 16
Wow.
for
Wow.
Sydney. So we.
But she'll be driving then, right?
That is correct.
Now, who told me, maybe it was Michael Islis because of Myra, because of the COVID and everything else, she didn't have to take like a driver's training thing.
I had not heard that, but I did hear that they were doing no driving test. People were taking the written test. I'm sure they're doing that in some online form, but no actual driving test where you've got the state trooper and all with you
Yeah,
and things.
yeah.
I don't think they're doing that.
Now,
right
we've got Sydney's dad right back there under the headphones, Brent. Brent, give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Is she going to be able to take a driving course or just start driving? Okay, good. Good. Great. What kind of new car are you going to buy her? Nothing. Huh? Was that a no?
All of a sudden, he just pulled us off
I
the air.
know. He got cheap on us real
yeah, he
quick.
did.
All right. Happy birthday, Sydney.
Ruby Hart.
Oh, good for Ruby,
Birthday
yeah.
on May the 11th, and James Woods on May the 14th. So happy birthday to all of you all, and some we'll see in services, I'm sure. Others maybe not ready to come out just yet, but happy birthday to each one of you.
Yeah, that's great. Now, we've also got something coming up the last Sunday of this month for our seniors.
That is Graduates Day. Seniors, no matter how we slice this, nobody's fault, but they got a bad deal.
Yep.
With all of the things in their senior years. So May the 31st, we are going to honor, recognize our graduates. To my knowledge, there are 3 of them. We've given people the opportunity to respond to see if I've missed anybody. I sure hope I haven't.
I don't think we have any college graduates this year, do we?
I don't think so. We've got Casey Luck, Jeb Cook, and Myra Islis, all 3 of them graduating this year. So we want to recognize them on Sunday, May the 31st.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have them here. Do you want to even begin to say anything about camp?
Well, with camp, the wilds and sending young people off to where it could be people from all over the Southeast. We're going to hold off on doing that this year. It just might not be the wisest thing. So I've been working with Austin and Allie and Michael and Sylvania, and Kathy and I have, we may regret this, by the way. We have given our farmhouse to the teenagers for 3 or 4 days in July. They are working on the date, trying to avoid graduations and all of that. And assuming things free up, they're going to take the teenagers up there to the farmhouse in July. I think they're actually meeting with the parents about it this Sunday. And hopefully Mammoth Cave will be open. It's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. It's about an hour from the farmhouse there. We've got horses up there, 4-wheelers, over 220 acres for them to hike and get around on up there. And we have devotionals every night, bonfires there in the yard, on the lawn. And Dale Hollow Lake is real close by. So we're looking at renting some pontoons. Kathy and I are actually going to be up there when this show now airs, checking some things out for them to try to help them out with some of the advanced planning on that. So all of that is in the works, assuming things open up and let the kids do that. But they'll be just with our church people. I think the parents' level of comfort and safety will increase tremendously if we're able to do that.
I just thought when Mark had told me about that idea, I thought, that's great, because North Carolina, we still have no idea what's going on up there and their restrictions. And, you know, camp was scheduled for June. We even questioned what we're going to be able to do for Vacation Bible School here. But when Mark told me about the idea going up to the farm, I thought, wow, that is great. Now you've got your farmhouse, and you're going to have 2 different campers there, maybe?
And my uncle also has a home there. It's less than a quarter mile from my house. We walk there all the time when we're all there together, back and forth. And so if I can twist his arm a little bit, we'll put the guys in one house, the gals in the other house, me in neither one of those houses. So, but no, Kathy and I are going to go up and cook for them and do all of those kinds of things. So it's going to
It'd be like an episode of Rawhide. Who is the cook on Rawhide?
Oh,
you remember
gosh,
that old
no.
You're gonna be out
I'll
there
be
cooking.
Hopsing off
Hopsing,
Bonanza.
yeah, there you go. Bonanza hopping. I think it'll be great. I really do.
I think it would be a wonderful time of camaraderie for them, a lot of fun things for them to do, but also an opportunity to pour into them spiritually. We'll have, you know, Michael and Austin, Allie, Sylvania, they'll plan all this schedule, but, you know, morning devotional time, evening campfire devotional times, and I think it's just going to be a great time.
It really is. It will be a wonderful time. And our seniors have missed out on everything as other seniors have in the area. And so when Mark said they had this idea, I thought, what a fantastic way to spend some time. They'll love it up there. The only thing they cannot do is poach any of the deer.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
No poaching of the deer allowed. So he may take you to his favorite spot. You got a nice tree stand there with comfortable chairs in it, and let you look around there.
They can look, but no shoot.
Yeah. But you probably do have some of that going on, won't you?
You know, we can do so many things on the property. The kids will love, you know. We actually, in looking at the boat rentals for Dale Hollow, looking for something that would be safe enough, obviously, but also powerful enough to maybe pull them tubing and some things like that. And yeah, they can do some target practice.
They will just have a great time. They really will. So I'm excited about that. And again, meeting this Sunday with the parents, so you'll get a lot more details. This Sunday is Mother's Day. Cannot believe it. Finally got everyone back, which is good. You know, we missed Easter, came and went here.
Yes, it did.
With us having an empty auditorium other than us being here. But Mother's Day, we're looking forward to that. I'm sure we'll have some more people want to come on this Sunday, which will be good. We'll have a gift for all of the mothers that will be here on Sunday. Have a good service and good music, and it's just always good to get together with the people of the Lord and worship together. So That is this coming Sunday. So we're looking forward to that. Well, our guest this morning, you're going to love this couple, Stephen and Phyllis Dart. You already know them, very actively involved in the church. What I could not believe is how fast time flies. I look back, and they joined the church on April 17th, 2016.
Wow.
You believe that?
Well, and Stephen was visiting for a long time.
Yeah,
it
he
seemed,
was.
prior to that.
Yeah, he was. But
That is-
April's, yeah. So
wow.
it's just how fast time has flown. But been wonderful, wonderful people in our church. Very faithful. Stephen's been involved in substitute teaching and other things like that. And they're good enough to listen to Benny Clark's teaching each and every Sunday.
Yeah.
So that alone warrants something in itself.
I tell you, the men's fellowship
Oh, yeah.
that Stephen had the burden for and started, that has been fantastic. And that, to me, is another wonderful thing that we'll be able to open up as we get past some of this COVID.
Exactly.
Because we had to close that down, of course, during that time frame. But we're getting on the other side and reopening some things. And one of the things that I want to get reopened is the men's fellowship.
Oh, yeah. No, that was fantastic. And Stephen's the one that spearheaded that, came up with the idea and manages it. It's just been fantastic. But I want you to get to know them a little bit more because they both have some interesting things that they have done and that they're doing right now that I wanted you to be aware of. So we're going to let them sit in the center seats. Mark and I are going to move to the side. Stephen and Phyllis, come on up this morning, if you will, and join us. What's your step? Come on up.
Thank you, thank you.
I can hear that thunderous applause out there.
That's
Yes.
true, yeah.
I can hear it.
All the way from East St. Louis is what you're
That's
hearing, is
it.
that
Wow, that's a
thunderous
long way.
applause from
That's
East
it.
St.
Long way.
Louis. Yeah, no, it's good to have them here this morning. You believe it's already been that long since you joined?
I started coming in 2015. I remember that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Finally joined the next year.
yeah. No, it's just time. It really does. Time flies. And for our church especially, we've been doing so much renovation around here, and for 8.5 years, you get caught up in those sorts of things, and all of a sudden, before you know it, time has just slipped by and gotten away from us.
Right.
I want to see if our guys in the back, do you have that wonderful picture that I brought? Look at that.
Wow.
Where did you get that?
That's Stephen right here. You believe this?
And I won that race.
Did you? I hope
won
you
that
did.
race.
Yeah. Now, Phyllis, did you know him then?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I want. How long have you known each other?
We started dating in high school.
Oh, wow.
We were in an English class together, and I think our very first date was either football dance or prom.
It was
something
homecoming.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I had a free ticket, so I said,
There you go.
you know,
There he
No
is.
sense
maybe this
wasting
girl in
that.
my English class will
He
go.
Well, I tell you what, if you had a free ticket, you made a great choice.
That's
Oh,
right.
I agree.
You did.
Aren't you
You did.
sweet?
You
Aren't
did
you
well
sweet?
on that. That was fantastic.
He has remained frugal his entire life. Never waste a
Yes.
free ticket.
That is-
Well, so you knew him back then. This was taken out of the St. Louis newspaper, by the way, the St. Louis Dispatch. And you'll get a kick out of this. Both Stephen and Phyllis went to East St. Louis High School, which is in Illinois.
It is.
And real close to the, obviously, the Missouri line there. But back then, big thriving area. I could not believe you had close to 800 people in your graduating
Oh, yeah.
class,
It was
right?
huge. It was over 750. It was big.
Yeah, it was just an amazing thing. Well, Stephen, while he was there, was a track star and low hurdles, high hurdles,
Both.
both. And that. Now, what did you set the state records in?
Both.
Okay, so he set state records in both the high hurdles and the low hurdles. He's also the quarterback of the football team.
That's correct.
All
Now,
area.
I knew about the track. I did not know he was quarterback of the football.
Yeah, he's all area, right? From what I remember reading.
Phyllis,
I'll
you
say
didn't have any
quarterback.
choice, but I mean, once he
How
asked,
could she not fall in love
Well,
with me?
no,
There you
goodness
go.
gracious.
It was the quarterback, not the track. Yeah, he's running after Phyllis in that picture is what he's doing.
That's what you don't see in this picture. She's 2 hurdles ahead.
That's right.
She's trying to get away from him.
Well, Phyllis was the captain of the cheerleaders also.
Ah, see, I didn't know that. So they're cheerleading camp. Tell me, how high are the hurdles? What do you think?
That high.
three,
A little under 3
a
feet.
little under 3. It's amazing when you watch. Now, most of us watch the Olympics, but How many hurdles are you allowed to hit or knock down before you disqualify?
Well, you can hit as many as you want, but once you start hitting them, you don't do very well.
you know very well. Your
Slow you
time
down.
goes down, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
significantly.
yeah.
The idea is to not hit any of them, and usually I didn't.
Yeah. Well,
But not hit any of them, but only clear them by minimal amount, correct? Because if you're up in the air, you're not going as fast.
He used to put a rock on the hurdle, and you try to skim the rock off without hitting the hurdle.
That's how I practiced.
wow. You and King David, huh? With your smooth stones.
Yeah,
I didn't throw them though.
So he set state records in the low and the high hurdle, quarterback of the football team, all area, by the way. But then you were the shortstop. I didn't realize that. You remember what your batting average was? Because I saw it in the paper.
It was 407, I think. It was 4 something. I can't remember. It was right around
The
there.
guy could hit and play shortstop.
that's
That is amazing. So an all-around athlete. But you're captain of the cheerleaders, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, back then, women, girls didn't have as many sports.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
so cheerleading was just about it.
Yeah.
And so I was involved early on in gymnastics and things like that. So cheerleading just kind of came natural for that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
I think
Yeah.
for my high school, we had a girl, the girls could play softball. That was it.
Yeah.
We didn't even have
that.
basketball
have
back
that.
We
then.
didn't even
We
have
had
that.
we had basketball at ours. I want to think volleyball was they were playing volleyball, but not the options like
No.
there are today.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
it's kind of 1-to-1 today.
Yeah.
Yeah,
type
which is
of
good.
run and all
Which
that.
is good. The
Sure.
girls have the same
Sure.
thing. So they met at East St. Louis High School. I drive by that every year on my way to Iowa.
Don't stop.
No, you don't. No. Always make sure your car is full of gas when you get through St. Louis, East St. Louis. But that's where they met. That's where they started dating, which is great. Stephen was one of the top 4, what they call scholar athletes in the nation that year. And you got to fly to Dallas.
Yeah, it was a great trip.
Well, what I remember you saying was that was your first plane ride, right?
It was first time. It was a private. It was the St. Louis Post Dispatch plane. They had a private plane. They flew us to Dallas for a weekend for an award ceremony, and it was a great time. Furthest I'd ever traveled at the time, although I've that's nothing anymore to where I go. But
Well, no. You both have made up for your plane trip since then.
Yes.
They've traveled all over the world. But anyway, she got there, and you were voted as the top scholar athlete in the nation in 1972.
that's correct.
That's pretty amazing.
68.
68.
68. Where did I get 72 from? 1968.
Well, and the sad thing is, none of the things we've just talked about would ever have happened in my life if we had COVID-19. I didn't have my senior year.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Phyllis and her cheerleading.
Yeah.
None of that would have happened if
Right.
that had happened to be
Right.
this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which
No.
lets you know a little bit of how those kids feel right
Exactly.
Yeah.
What they're missing
It's
out on
very
is
hard.
just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
I mean, I think what they're going through and what they're experiencing, that even as adults, it's hard for us to grasp it and understand it. And I think we can tell them, don't worry about it. It's all going to be okay. Don't fret. I'm not sure we have the moral authority to do that. I mean, it is real to them.
Yeah.
And I think being there and trying to compensate in some way for it is the best we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, graduated from East St. Louis. Where'd you go to college?
University of Illinois.
Oh, wow. You're
Big Ten.
Okay, Big Ten. She stayed in the Big Ten. Go Big
Yeah.
Ten.
Five
That's
Well,
good.
I
Great
know.
cheerleader there too.
Okay, you were a cheerleader at university.
I
Can we
was.
pull up any past video from the
Oh, I
sports
hope
and
not.
see you on?
Yearbook.
We should have looked at that. So you were a cheerleader at University of Illinois. Fantastic.
I was, and I hate to even say this, but I was on the first co-ed squad. Now
Wow.
everything is co-ed.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was on the first co-ed squad.
Yeah. Now, what was your major there?
Accounting.
Accounting. Wow. So accounting major, and our man Stephen here goes off to Princeton, right?
Right.
Now, how's the guy from St. Louis fit in at Princeton?
Well, I seem to fit right in. There's a lot of people like me there.
Yeah.
I mean, and some good friends to this day. Even from when I went there, I ran track for a while, but then I broke my ankle.
See, I was
after
going to
my
ask you about
sophomore
that.
year,
If
and-
you're reading all this stuff, what you did at Princeton. So you ran track. You didn't play baseball there, though, huh? Or football?
No, you can only do one in college.
Oh, okay.
It's tough. It's full time. But I was playing a softball game in the summer and sliding in second base and caught my spike, bending all the way back to my shin, and I didn't run track anymore after
No.
that.
That's why Pete Rose, by the way, always slid in head first.
That I may not be thinking.
Yeah.
no.
So Princeton University, she majored in accounting. What was your major there at Princeton?
Chemical engineering.
Chemical engineering. And then, so we got an accountant, a chemical engineer. And you come out of college, and did you go, what did you go right into out of college?
I worked.
Okay.
I worked for a year while he got his master's at MIT, and then we got married, and he went to work for BASF, and we got transferred to Detroit.
Right
So-
near where you grew
Right
up.
near, yeah, yeah.
So we
yeah.
were in Michigan for several times, back and forth.
Yeah, well, I knew that, but so from Princeton you go to MIT
Right.
and get your master's degree there in
Chemical engineering.
chemical engineering. So,
But I got
BASF.
a teaching certificate when I was at Princeton also by doing student teaching and stuff. And so later when I went into math and science teaching high school, I didn't have to do anything to get certified. I was already certified.
Already certified.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm glad I did that.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So were you engaged while you were in college?
Yes, for a while. We dated off and on during college when we'd come home, but
Okay.
we would see other people while we were away,
Oh.
and then we.
Let's talk some
That's
more
really
about
what
this.
I want to know. Those other people.
That never happened. Never happened. What you,
Forget this
Dreaming.
education
Forget this
stuff.
stuff,
Oh, let's
Next.
go with the good stuff right here.
That's where I normally bring up my wife's former boyfriend, Bill. So you're engaged, and so right out of college then. So what year did you get married? I'll ask Phyllis. I don't want to put them on the spot here.
73.
It's 1973 because you were married in 1973, and you moved right away to the Detroit area.
yeah, started working.
Wow, where were you living there? Right in Detroit or one of the
We
suburbs?
lived in, we lived in Trenton.
Oh wow, yeah.
Drove by through Flat Rock
all the time. Yeah, we played Trenton
Isn't that
in
something?
sports. Yeah, no.
Our son was born in Wyandotte General
Oh,
Hospital.
wow, isn't that something? Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, well, Jim Medley, who's back there, he's from that area too, knows exactly. So you were there working for BASF, and you were working also at the time?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
They used to have S&H travel stamp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Saves.
Yep.
I worked for them.
Did you really? Yeah.
So
no.
the green stamp.
The
So
green stamps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Save your books and
Yes.
get your rewards.
My parents did that all the time. We'd go, up to the little store and cash in those books of stamps and things.
World has
Yes.
changed.
Yes.
Oh, the world.
We did,
Mom,
though.
Mom bought one of these with hers. It was like a little warmer. You plug in and you could put whatever on it and warm. But that was a big deal for us getting something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, S&H green stamp. So how did you get from Michigan down here to Georgia?
Well, it went like this. It went from Michigan to Baton Rouge to Michigan to Baton Rouge to Tulsa to Houston to Massachusetts to Houston to here. Chemical engineers
Wow.
get transferred a lot. And change jobs a lot.
I-75, you just could have come straight
Yeah.
south. It was a lot easier and you made it.
But when we came here, our son was in elementary school then, and we didn't want to move again.
Yeah.
Once your kids are in school, and so we stayed here, and then that's when I went into teaching instead of chemical
Yeah.
engineering.
Now, you also went into teaching too, didn't you, fellas?
I did. Stephen tells people after I moved here, I had 2 years where I played tennis.
She did. She was a tennis player.
And I did, and it didn't work. But then I started subbing, and I thought, I know this has got to be easier if you have your own classroom. So then I went to Georgia State, and I got certified, and then started teaching full time. And at that same time is when Stephen went and decided he was going to teach as well. Not an easy time, that's for sure. He and I together made $20,000 less than what he did by himself. So it was, not easy.
So you went to school.
Wow. Yeah. So but I think it was the right choice for us, and it really, in the long run, as we went on, he was very happy. I was very happy. So it was the right choice for
Now,
us.
how many years did you work for BASF before you wanted to teach?
Well, I worked for BSF for 5 years, but each of those other moves
Yeah.
was a different company.
Oh, a different company.
also.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was
So anytime there was a spill somewhere around the world, you had to switch jobs as a chemical engineer.
Well, chemical engineering jobs and salaries move a lot with the oil prices.
Yeah.
Because most chemicals, petrochemicals, are made from petroleum.
Petroleum-based
So when it
products.
goes up, chemical companies are making money too, and when it goes down, they're laying people off, and so it's just kind of cyclical.
Yeah.
But,
But
that's
how many years did you end up teaching before you retired?
well, I did 19 years as a chemical engineer, and then I
Wow.
did 24 teaching.
Wow.
And what I tell people, and now I'm retired. It's the best of the three. Everybody should try it. But all you have to do is work 43 years.
That's
I
right.
mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I did it. So,
Yeah. Now, what were you teaching, Phyllis?
My degree was in middle school education.
Uh-huh.
So when I taught math and science right over here at Sweetwater, not too far from here. And I taught for 7 years, and then I got a master's, and then eventually a specialist, and so was an AP for 14 years, and then became a principal after that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Where were you a principal?
I was a principal at Cedar Hill Elementary, which is up here on Sugarloaf Parkway.
Yeah.
And so love education, love it. I think middle school kids are my favorite, even though I was in.
Not many people will say that.
Well,
I wouldn't say
that's,
that.
that's what most
I'm
people.
very serious about that.
I know,
It
and
can be very challenging age.
it is, but elementary children, even though I was an elementary principal, you know, if you have a kindergartner or a first grader or second grader that they melt down, there is no reasoning with them.
Right.
You just have to kind of take them out and let them
Right.
calm down eventually. But a middle schooler, you can say, you know, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And they're like, I know, you know.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
get it, you know, and you can talk to them, and you know there's going to be consequence. Yeah, I know, you know. And but at the same time, before we got so focused on spending every minute, you know, in academics, we used to have times when we'd let them go out and play football and do things during the day, and you open the doors and they'd run like they were 5 years old. I said middle school is the best, you know. They're still, I really still believe that. That's the best.
My favorite was high school, and felt like I could have more influence and more impact with high school students. And I think it's just because I related better to them in what they were doing in life and the extracurriculars and things
Sure.
that they were involved in. I related better that, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because the middle school age, so important and so influential.
Well, and their number one thing at that point is social. You know, how do I relate with my peers and
Sure.
everybody else? And so handling a middle schooler is a little bit different. You know, you have to respect them as a person and to get them to form that relationship with you. But yeah, I love middle school kids. I never did high school, just elementary and middle, but my choice would always be middle.
Well, I always told people they didn't fit in elementary school. They didn't fit in high school. They were in the middle.
Right,
You
exactly.
have to realize that
Yeah.
and relate to them in that standpoint. I always tried to view them not as when they were in the 6th grade, they were old elementary kids. By the time we got them to the 8th grade, they were young high school kids.
Right,
And
exactly.
you have to understand that as you deal with them.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Now, you were at Parkview, right?
No, I was at Charlotte. My
Sure.
son,
Okay,
my son
okay.
was at Parkview for a while.
Okay,
He's
okay,
at Providence now.
Okay.
But no, I was at Shiloh all 24 years.
Wow.
Too.
Wow. Now, did you get involved coaching at all while you were there?
Well, I coached baseball the first couple years, but my son at the same time attended Brookwood, and he was one of their star players, and parents kind of didn't like that. You know, me coaching their kid here, and my son being the.
Yeah, yeah.
So after a couple years, I stopped the coaching and did a little girls basketball, and didn't really know much about coaching basketball, but you know, it was 9th grade girls, so what'd you have to know? It wasn't the Lakers. I mean, But you know, one thing, a primary reason I went into teaching is I believed and still do believe that it was something that God wanted me to do. And I could feel when I was there that that was what he wanted, and I was doing his will. And I got a lot of comments from kids. You could kind of tell that they understood that. And then when it was time to go, I could feel God saying, okay, you did what I wanted you to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to go. It was just as clear as could be in my head that it was time for me to retire and start doing it.
Yeah.
And so
Now-
I enjoyed it.
How did you see the classroom change? Because I know what school was like when I was in public school. And the level of respect for the teachers, what was going on in the school, that parents were involved. I mean, if you had a problem at school, you didn't come home and squeal on your teachers to your parents, because my mom would stick up for the
Right.
people at school. How have you seen things change?
Well, there's an awful lot of changes that have gone on. A lot with technology, of course. When I first started teaching, we had to sign up to use an overhead projector because we didn't have that many.
Isn't that so?
And nobody had, any video equipment or anything like that. So from that aspect, there was a lot of changes going on. I think there are a lot of changes, but I think you have to get down to the nitty-gritty of it. Kids are kids. And if you remember, they are still always the same. That they wanted to be treated with respect. They want people to care and value them. And they want to know that you're listening. And so those kind of things stay the same all the time. I think when you look at from the administrative end of it, I think, of course, you'll hear everybody say we went to a lot more testing, a lot more emphasis on that sort of thing. I think depending on where you are, you have parents who support you, and you have parents who don't. You have parents who realize their children need to accept consequences for what they've done, and you've got parents who are going to think their children never did anything. What I found worked for me a lot of times was if I just presented the facts about what I knew about, say, a discipline issue, most of the time I could tell the parent knew that their child had done something. And as long as I wasn't, you're a child,
Yeah.
and treating both with respect, it would work. It still worked. And I still believe that. I think there are a lot of changes that have gone on. I think kids today, wow, my 8-year-old knows more technology than what I do.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
posts
Yeah.
YouTube views and things,
Yeah.
and keeps track of it. But I think if you get down to the nature of kids and the nature of your relationship with them, that still is what's most important. And there are a lot of administrative or things that go on that are a lot different. But I still think kids are kids, and
Yeah.
that's what you have to look at when you are dealing with them and working with them and working with their parent. Remember, this is their only little egg they have, and they're going to protect it. And so you have to understand that going in. And sometimes you're going to have to say, well, we're going to agree to disagree because that's what I don't think happened. And, so I think it changed a lot, but a lot of it stayed the same.
Well, and you can see why she was such an excellent principal just from,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of attitude that you want your principal to have.
Exactly.
And the kind of belief system you want.
Yeah. Now, tell folks what got you in our front door back in 2015.
Well, I was teaching a men's class over at another church near here, Baptist church, and the pastor kept changing, and the type of service changed. It used to be similar to the service we have here, but it changed, was becoming not really the kind of service I liked, and the things they were even changing the Sunday school. And so your service starts at the time, a little bit after our Sunday school ended. So I was looking for a church, and I heard some things about this church, and that sounded good. So after Sunday school, I started coming over here to church. Now, and as I mentioned to you once before, years before that, when I would drive by, I kind of pictured people with like snakes in here and talking in tongues, you know. And stuff. But when I came in, it wasn't like that, you know. It was a
No, we had them hid that
Yeah,
way.
well, they're
They're
still
in the
All the
hidden then.
snakes were in the back.
They're in the cage.
But I mean, the message here is so different. It's what you want to hear. It's what I want to hear. It's straightforward. It's based on Jesus Christ, and it was just. I didn't want to leave when the service was over, and I kept coming back. And the only reason I didn't join sooner is because I promised the men's Sunday school class that I was in that I would stay until I taught the entire Bible. And I still had Revelation to go and a little bit of else. And we did. I taught the entire Bible. It took. If you want to know how long it takes to teach the entire Bible, going 45 minutes on Sunday, the answer is 8 years.
Wow.
I can tell you that. So we finished that up, and I told him, I said, you know, I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I'm going over there. I'm sorry, I'm leaving. I'm not sorry that I'm going
Yeah,
over here. And they said to me, we can't believe you waited this long. I mean, it was obvious that this is where I should be. And I came over, and then Phyllis started coming, and, you know, we joined the church. And, I mean, this is where it's like the Bible. You can tell there are places in the Bible where God says God is not the author of confusion, you know, and things here, everybody here just seems to be so happy and seems to love being here so much. My son comes here from time to time.
Yep.
He usually comes when I do narration, so usually at Christmas he'll pop in, you know, if no other time. And he said, even though he normally goes to 12 Stone, he says he doesn't mind coming here when he comes here. He even enjoys coming here. You know, he can come here on a regular basis, and the thing that he feels when he comes here is the love of all the people in the church. And
Amen.
he just volunteered that, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't ask him, so that's how I ended up coming here, and
Yeah.
she kind of comes with me. So
Yeah.
I want to hear about Phyllis's
Yeah.
ministry that she has, the Lord's laid on your heart during this pandemic.
Well, really, I almost feel like Valerie, my friend, should be here talking about this. I belong to a small group that we meet once a week, all during the school year. And our whole purpose, although we do have food and we do socialize, our whole purpose is for our Christian faith to grow. We do book studies and different things. But when this happened, we couldn't do that anymore. Well, one of our leaders put out an email that she felt led to initiate 40 days of prayer. And in her first email that she put out, she explained why 40 days. And she felt like it was significant in the Bible that there is any number of places where 40 is mentioned. And then after that, there's like a change, like Jesus was tempted or in the wilderness 40 days and 40 and then he started his ministry and different things happened. And so she felt like 40 was important. And then she also said, she quoted 2nd Chronicles about if my people are called by my name, humble themselves and pray and seek my face, and you know, then eventually I'm going to heal their land. And so she had started that, and she said she really felt led to do that, and if we wanted to join her. And so virtually everybody in my small group said yes, and other people have been added. And then I started sending it on to you all. But it's, I think when we first heard her say she was going to do that, and she ends with a prayer that she has, we thought she was going to just send her prayer. But what she has done is she's almost made it like a daily devotional. Right. She'll start with something personal in her life and what she sees in the world, and then she'll draw in biblical verses as well as things that she has studied from other authors, and then she'll finally end that with a prayer. And we all just constantly are telling her how much we appreciate her leadership in this area, because her focus has been, yes, we need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray for those people who are out there, and we need to remember all of that. But by the same token, we can't live in fear, that we need to know that this is part of God's plan, that he is in control. And we may not understand it But if we will just keep acknowledging him and praying to him, that we realize that this is something that he will bring about when he is ready, and that the purpose of our praying not only is to ask for things or whatever, but also to grow closer to the Lord and build that relationship with him. So I've really enjoyed it. I hope you have. I go through and I read it all, and as a matter of fact, I was very nervous about talking about it. I told Stephen, I said, I'm more of a Kathy and a Cindy here. I didn't want to get up and do this. But and he said, oh, she'll be happy. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Well, I thought she said it.
No.
His words were to me, she can't wait.
Oh, yeah. No. But anyway, it has truly been a blessing to me. And I know different ones that have responded to her said, when this 40 days is over, we feel
That's
like
right.
what we need, we're going to still need. So we'll just have to see what happens at that point. But
I just think it's great. Mark and I get it every day, and it's a wonder. It really is. I call it more of a devotion.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
You get some personal information, devotional, scripture verses, things to pray about, and it's fantastic. But you're right. Once you get it started,
yeah,
that's what's happening to Gather at the River.
Yep.
Yeah.
We thought this would be, we'll plug something in there while people are away and can't come to church and give them something a little bit different. Now they enjoy watching. I think
Absolutely.
you're going to find the same thing with that.
Yeah.
But it is a great devotion. And really, it tells you that out of tribulation and things like that, what could come from
Great
that.
things can
Something
come.
wonderful and good. And so,
Well, Romans 8:28 is still true.
yeah.
Even in COVID, God didn't suspend that verse because we had a pandemic.
That's right.
All things still work together for good. Now that's awful to hear if you've lost a loved one during this time. But God's looking at a picture that's much larger than just my space on the
That's right.
canvas. Where I'm blessed is he lets me have a little part in his great big picture.
Oh, yeah. Mark, in his message on Sunday night, mentioned about tribulation. And the thought hit me, and I mentioned to the folks that were here that you don't like it, but I said, if the 3 Hebrew guys would have not been
That's
thrown
right.
in the furnace, the king would have never seen the 4th man in the fire.
That's it.
Jonah's 3 days and nights in the belly of the whale allowed Nineveh to have a revival.
Right.
You just go through all of those things. And so there's a plan, there's a purpose,
Amen.
there's something that's going to come out of this. And
Well,
so
they're going to hear about it Sunday morning. He still has it all under control.
under control, that's right. Yeah.
Under control.
Yeah.
And the Attorney General Barr said last week, just because there's a pandemic, the Constitution is not suspended.
Not suspended.
Well, the same thing's true of the Bible. Just because there's a pandemic,
Exactly.
the Bible's not suspended.
Yeah,
What's in the
exactly.
Bible is still true.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's true. Well, listen, guys, thanks for being here. Was it painless?
it's not so bad once you get up here.
Once you get up here, I know.
Anticipation is like,
I know. Our wives were a wreck for a week before they
Yes.
got up here. So
Well, I wore a tie because I didn't want to be embarrassed like poor Jerry last week when you made fun of his casual attire. You know?
no, Jerry's lost a lot of weight. I should have mentioned it while here. Oh, Jerry's
It
lost a lot
would
of
not
weight.
have made any difference what he wore.
You were going to
Preacher was still
Oh,
going
we
to
were
go
going to
after
get on
him.
it.
It
He knew
matters
it.
not.
He knew it was coming. But thanks for being here today.
Well, thanks for having us.
People are going to love watching this and just get to know our people in our church a little bit more. But thanks for joining us this morning, and I trust you have a wonderful rest of the day, Friday. For those that are looking forward to church, we'll see you here Sunday morning. Again, Mother's Day, we will not be having a Sunday evening service, just a Sunday morning service. And we got a lot of things planned, and so we're looking forward to seeing you there. Mark, you want to close us in prayer this morning?
Lord, we are so thankful for the privilege that we have to fellowship together. Lord, I'm so thankful for the technology that you have allowed so that we can communicate in such a simple fashion. Lord, for Phyllis and Stephen, I'm thankful that you brought them to Yellow River. Pray that you continue to bless their family, bless our church family. Lord, and bless us in this place on Sunday, that you would be uplifted, that you would be honored, you would be glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday.